This is a song for this time. It's called The Family of Everyone. We must come together as one people with one heart. We must work together to heal the world, to make us start. We must love each other. Now the age of forgiveness has begun. We must hold all people in the family of everyone. We must learn together of our unity deep inside, bound in spirit forever, knowing love will be our guide. Though we're all like different planets, we circle around the same eternal sun. We belong with all people to the family of everyone. Now we join together as one people with one prayer. May our song fill earth with heaven, bring peace and freedom everywhere. May we never cease believing this sacred work of angels can be done as we draw people into the family of everyone, till we're all the one great people of earth, in the family of everyone, in the family of everyone. We're the family of everyone. And may it be so.
Thank you so much, Corey, for your beautiful song. We are so grateful for you. And I want to say welcome everyone to our Fellowship for Today's Sunday service on Mother's Day. And just happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. And let's just be joyful in that. And we're going to start our service this afternoon, as we always do, with an opening meditation. So I invite you to bring your full selves into the space that you are in right now, body, mind, and spirit, in this present moment. And let's just take 2 deep breaths together, breathing in and breathing out, and breathing in and breathing out. And let's put our hands on our hearts as we bring our full attention and focus to the one divine loving presence, infinite mind and creative intelligence, the all that is. Remembering that we are one with this loving presence, inseparable from it. And from this sacred, peaceful place within, today, right now, with gratitude and appreciation, we remember the beautiful divine beings who birthed us into our human experience. We extend gratitude to our mothers, our partners in the most powerful and complex relationship we experience here on this earth. I invite you to bring into your heart your own personal gifts and blessings from the relationship with your mother, and perhaps in your relationships as mother. These are opportunities, all opportunities for growing in love, in trust, empowerment, and forgiveness. We open our hearts to all those who have nurtured us on our earth journey and say thank you. To those who have encouraged us, inspired us, held our hand, gave us encouragement, nursed our wounds, and loved us in whatever capacity, whatever way they were able to. And let us all collectively bless all mothers who have stepped into the role of nurturer, all stages, ages, and genders. We bless you. We see you as spirit, love, and strength. And we open to the divine nurturing energy that is love. And together we say, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you, everyone, for joining in with that meditation. And now we have a song coming up from our wonderful dangling participles.
Left my picture in the bedroom, poster on the wall. Didn't need to take your number, 'cause I'd memorized them all. I shut the door, said I'd be back. You said it's bittersweet, because 'cause you are a woman now. My job, it is complete. You hold my heart for a lifetime.
You hold my heart.
Only for a moment you held my hand.
You held my hand.
You're my North Star. And when I drift or falter, you're there to help me stand. Piece it all together now, what was handed down to you, to me, an eternity of wisdom from the cloud. The lips of mothers long ago sang those lullabies that ring somewhere inside of me when my own baby cries. You hold my heart for a lifetime.
You hold my heart.
Only for a moment you held my hand.
You held my hand.
You're my North Star. And when I drift or falter, you're there to help me stand.
You hold my heart for a lifetime. Only for a moment. You held my hand. You're my North Star. And when I drift or fall, you're there.
To help me stand. You're there to help me stand.
Now is the time in our service where we pause and really bring our minds and hearts to the gratitude and appreciation that we have for all of our blessings and gifts. We bring them in joy and happiness and a feeling of love given and love received. So let us now join together as we say together our blessing of the tithes and offerings. The words are on the screen for you. The light of divine love shines eternally, blessing and multiplying our tithes and offerings. I joyously give, knowing I always have enough to share and to spare. We as the fellowship community thank all of you for your generous donations, and we bring them together to serve our wonderful spiritual community. So thank you all for those donations. Now in our service, we're going to listen to one of our School of Ministry students, Julie Ross, as is the tradition, talk about her mother. But I just wanted to say a few words before she begins. Mother's Day and our relationships with our mothers are, some of the most complex relationships we will ever experience on our path here on earth. I recently ran across a couple quotes from Maya Angelou, and she said, "My mother raised me and then she freed me." Love liberates us into life. It doesn't hold us. Those are really, really powerful words for us all to remember in all relationships. But mothers always have that point in time where we know we have to let go. And sometimes those are the most challenging and difficult for the mother and also for the child. So it's just something to keep in mind for all mother relationships and all relationships in general. But I also want to say that with regard to this idea of liberation, when we become adults, we know that we can choose to claim our freedom. We know that we have freedom to love deeply and the freedom to forgive, the freedom to heal our hearts and heal our relationships. These are our lessons, and we can choose to find blessings in all of it, and we can be grateful for it all. So just keep these ideas in our hearts as we go through our lives, walk through our world with our children, with those that we have stepped up to nurture, with parents who have passed perhaps. We remember that we are love and they are love. And all of these experiences that we've had here on the earth plane have brought us growth and shifted us from fear to love. So I want to now introduce Julie Ross, and I hope you all just settle in and take in her thoughts and experiences with her mother.
Hi friends, I'm happy to be here today to share my story of my mom. She was a wonderful woman with a great sense of humor, and I'd just like to tell you about my experience with having her as my mother. My mom's name was Rosemary Hill Hathaway. She was born in July 1934 in Detroit, and had mostly brothers and one sister, I think 5 brothers. Her father died when my mom was very young, just 2 or 3 years old, and my grandmother, her mother, eventually remarried a man with 6 sons. So my mom actually came from a very large family. She was the youngest of all the children and spent the majority of her elementary school years in a boarding school. But eventually, you know, she got through school and went away to college. She was in nursing school when she met my dad. He was dating her roommate at the time, and they used to double date together and eventually ended up together. And so my parents were fairly young, in their early 20s when they first married, and within the first year had the oldest of their 7 children, my brother, Jim. So they eventually moved from the very small apartment that they were living in into a suburban home in Livonia, and that's where they were living when I was born. I'm the 3rd oldest out of 7 children. My mom was a stay-at-home mom all those years with all the kids. As I mentioned, there was a total of 7 ultimately. And as the children in the family, number 6 and 7, grew beyond elementary school age, my mother decided that she wanted to return to nursing and found a job working in hospice as a hospice nurse. Around that same time, I was still living at home and working as a nurse's aide in a convalescent home, working afternoons. And my mother and I would get home from work, me from the nursing home and her from working as a hospice nurse in a hospital. And we had a lot of late night talks about life and death with dignity and how to our sick. So I'm very appreciative all these years later to have had those late night talks with my mom. She was a wonderful woman, a little Irish lady. I take after my dad physically. He's Italian and tall and dark Italian, and my mother was a little Irish lady, but she had a great sense of humor. She had many, many friends. She loved people and loved to share her love of people with us, her children, and with the family in general. So in my growing up years, I was, I guess, fortunate enough to have been born the oldest daughter. I have 2 older brothers and then myself. And because being one of the older kids in the family, I was tasked with helping my mom with a lot of the extra duties around the house, as well as helping to prepare for holidays. I can remember many Christmas Eves after the family went to midnight mass. Everybody would go to bed and I would stay up helping my mom wrap presents and loading all the presents around the tree and getting all the last touches ready for Christmas morning when the pandemonium would ensue. Remember, we had 7 kids. So it was really nice to be able to experience some of these special moments with my mom that I'm sure was more related to me being one of the oldest children as opposed to being just chosen specifically above anyone else. It was just a matter of, you know, I was her kind of her right-hand girl with helping with the kids, helping getting dinner ready, cleaning. There were certain cleaning tasks that she delegated to me that even as the younger children got older and could have taken over some of these jobs, my mom said that I was the best at doing it, and so cleaning the bathroom was one of my jobs. But getting back to my mom, so and as I mentioned, she worked as a hospice nurse, and her work schedule was always afternoon and evening hours, so that she was still home for the family and there to, you know, when we got home from school, and still, as most people would consider it, a tradition in the traditional mother role for sure. But my mom was raised Catholic, as I was, as we all were in the family, and she had a very deep faith and trust in God, and she and my dad both instilled that deep faith in us, and very, very lucky and appreciative to have had an upbringing with loving parents who had a deep faith and a Christian faith. We had many friends in the neighborhood, and we happened to have a pool in our backyard, so I can remember many summers of other moms in the neighborhood and friends of my mom and all their kids showing up without invitation to into our backyard to, of course, enjoy the pool in the yard, which was never a problem. We were always happy to have lots of friends and children around the house to play with and stuff. So another thing my mom was very much into, and this evolved over the years, but my mom was really into sewing and very much into crafts. And some of you may be old enough to remember back into the 70s when there was a new way of sewing called stretch and sew, where you could sew, teaching you how to sew polyester, of course the stretching material that we're all familiar with now, but we've got pictures of the family where my mom made myself and my sisters matching Easter dresses, and oh gosh, it just seemed like there were so many projects with the sewing, and that was another thing that she kind of pulled me aside and tried to teach me sewing, and I helped her with mending and things like that too. So the crafting continued. She did decoupage. She used to make buy greeting cards, cut out details on the cards, and create on a plaque a 3D version of the front of the card, which was really, really cool. She just was really into using her hands and being industrious in a way that not just made, was a benefit to the family, but also she enjoyed it. And I think, looking back, that was kind of her alone time, where she could go down to the basement, and we had the ping pong table down there, and she would spread out her fabrics on this table, and she had her sewing machine, and she would spend hours down there just sewing and stuff. And again, calling on me to help her out with little projects along the way. So overall, I would say that my relationship with my mom was very good. In my teen years, I was considered the family, I guess, black sheep, but that's my interpretation of it. But yes, I was a bit of a troublemaker and got into some trouble in school. not so much with grades, but just skipping a lot of classes. And my mom was not going to say that she was lenient, because she wasn't. My parents were pretty strict. But there were times when she would pull me aside and we would have these talks about what was really going on with me, and kind of let me know that she wasn't going to just lay it all out in front of my dad the minute he walked through the door. She sort of pick and chose her moments as far as and how serious offenses, and none of them were that serious, but how serious and whether it was something worth sharing with my dad or not. But even in those years, I kind of felt like she always had my back. And, you know, as a rebellious teenager, you go through moments where you don't think you have the most loving parents, and you have a hard time seeing them as human beings. But eventually, and with my parents' guidance, you know, I turned out okay. But the best part of that is that my mother ultimately and I became friends in my adulthood. And she actually was one of my very best friends and one of my closest confidants. And over the years in my adulthood, times when I would run to her in distress about some situation or another, you know, she'd say, "Well, Julie, your dad and I always told you what goes around comes around." And I would just answer back, "Boy, you're not kidding." You know, they had some words of wisdom, but those words didn't really have much meaning or sink into me until in my later years, you know, when you got more wisdom and experience under your belt. But anyway, my friendship with my mom, and I was just so blessed to be able to pick up the phone any time of day or night and call her and feel her love and feel her support and her guidance. And like I said, she had a great sense of humor, so she could, you know, make me smile in the worst of situations. A little side note about my mom is she loved Las Vegas. And the reason that she loved Las Vegas is because she took many trips there with her sister and my mother's aunt, my great aunt. Many years in a row they went and stayed at Harrah's, and because they stayed so many years in a row, Harrah's was very aware of who my mom is and her sister and aunt, and so began to offer, I don't know at one point, but you know, a free stay at Harrah's each year when they came back. Well, ultimately, my great aunt died, and my mom's sister wasn't able to go with her, so my mom started inviting just one of somebody from the family, one of the children, to go with her, of course, grown children. And my youngest sister went a few times, and then she married and had a couple kids, and it just, I guess, turned out I was the logical choice because I don't have children and had a little easier schedule to be able to up and go. Personally, I had no desire to ever go to Las Vegas, but because it was an opportunity to travel with my mom and see her in that environment, I agreed to go. And we ended up going 4 or 5 years in a row together, and it was such a good time. Just to see my mom in that environment. She knew exactly where she was going. She knew exactly what games she liked to play. She wasn't a hardcore gambler. She enjoyed the poker bar, where we would sit and drink wine, and I'd sit and watch her, you know, play the cards at the poker bar. And then, you know, slot machines. And if you're looking for a tip on slot machines, my mom's tip was play the penny slots, but bet max, which is probably about $1.50 or so. She was one lucky Irish woman. She won, and she won a lot. But, you know, that wasn't the point of going to Vegas with her. It was just to be in this you know, kind of exciting environment, a place that she knew very well. And we had some very good talks and a really good time there. One of our favorite things to do was the last night. We would usually go for 3 nights. The last night we would go to the old part of Las Vegas, and not the Strip, but where the more original casinos and things are. And we'd always go out for rib dinner and stand out on the street and just talking and watching people. And we just had the greatest time, and it was really interesting to see her interact with strangers. And this was pretty true throughout my entire life. Both of my parents could sit down in any diner and hold an hour-long conversation with the people next to them. That's just, very outgoing, very friendly type people. So I saw a lot of that in Vegas as well. But so yeah, even though I wasn't crazy about going to Vegas, I'm really, really glad that I did and had those times with her. The last year of my mother's life was difficult for her. She and my dad had a place in Arizona, and they were snowbirds, and they would leave Michigan and go out to Arizona every winter, usually right around Christmas time or right after the family Christmas party. They would head out to Arizona and then stay there until sometime in April, usually they would come back. And this particular year, my mother was walking up to a woman's house to get her hair done and tripped over a step and broke her hip. And it was an extremely bad break. She ended up in the hospital and had a complete hip replacement, but also had in-care, in-residence physical therapy for several months before she could finally come back home to the place where she and my dad were living in Arizona. And again, more out of convenience and availability, I offered to my brothers and sisters to go out there and stay with my parents for a few weeks when she came home from rehab, so that she could transition into her new normal and help them get used to the medication, the physical therapy, all of the new changes and routines that went on. So I did that. I stayed out there for several weeks and helped my mom, and it was hard to see that tough little lady struggling so hard, but boy, she had the spirit of a warrior. And the doctors had her using a walker, and she was determined that she was going to get beyond the point of using a walker and walking with 2 canes. And she actually did reach that milestone. I don't think it was the most stable situation for her. I think she kind of eventually realized that as well. So anyway, over that last year, there were several more falls, and ultimately it was a fall that got her. She got it from the kitchen table one night to get my dad some ice cream, tripped and fell and hit her head. And we were all notified the next day that she had been airlifted to the hospital in Traverse City, and that she had severe cerebral hemorrhaging going on. So later that week, she did cross over with all of us by her side. And she's missed greatly. But in her passing, I have found so much joy in just the reflection of having her as my mom, and knowing that she's safe and living a wonderful, having a happy time up there. I'm sure there's lots of Irish singing going on, and a lot of partying going on too. But in closing, I just want to say that she was a great mom, and I love her very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julie Ross, for sharing the beautiful memories that you have had with your mom and your relationship with her. Thanks so much. And now I would like to invite you to join me for a Mother's Day meditation. So take a moment and find a comfortable position. And finding your feet on the ground, sitting up nice and tall, nice and open in your posture. And then perhaps close your eyes or gaze downward. And let's take a few deep breaths together. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through your nose. And with each breath, just relaxing more and more. And let's bring in all the parts parts of you. Your body, your mind, your emotions, your spirit. Welcome it all. And just feeling your breath moving naturally into your body and out of your body again. And let's focus our thoughts on honoring our mothers, mother figures in our lives, Mother Earth, and the divine feminine, the sacred feminine that resides in all of us. And I invite you to connect in words to a place that you sense your truth, you know your truth, your wisdom. And then, and for some, it could be your chest or your heart or your belly. And let's place your hands right on that part of the body. And let's take a moment to honor the sacred feminine. And when you feel centered, connect with the parts of your nature that is nurturing, loving, playful, passionate, the gentler, softer part of you. The part of you that has a desire to go to the needs of a crying baby, to help an injured animal, or a group of people that have suffered such traumatic loss, or deep concern for our dear Mother Earth. And let's recall a time when you were loved and cared for by someone, perhaps your mom, dad, caregiver, grandparent, friend, with us now or in spirit. Just honoring the feminine qualities of nurturing, love, and compassion that you received. And if you can, really feel the sensation of being cared for. And allowing some time just to really take that in and appreciate this love. And if some sadness, pain, or loss arises, practice some kindness, some patience, understanding. And this is natural. And take some time to offer self-compassion and care to yourself. And just breathing in and breathing out. Perhaps name the emotion if you can. And today, let us honor the mother figures in our lives, here and in spirit, the sacred feminine in all of us. And also honor the complex emotions that may come up. Perhaps today we could ask ourselves, how can we better mother ourselves each day? And to conclude, let us give thanks for the feminine, life-giving nature that lives within all of us. Much love. So it is.
May the sun bring you new energy by day. May the moon softly restore you by night. May the rain wash away your worries. May the breeze blow new strength into your being. May you walk gently through the world and know its beauty all the days of your life. May the sun bring you new energy by day. May the moon softly restore you by night. May the rain wash away your worries, and may the breeze blow new strength into your being. May you walk gently through the world and know its beauty all the days of your life, all the days of your life, all the days of your life. May the sun bring you new energy by day. May the moon softly restore you by night. May the rain wash away your worries, and may the breeze blow new strength into your being. May you walk gently through the world and know its beauty all the days of your life, all the days of your life, all the days of your life.
What a lovely, lovely service this afternoon. Sharing in experiences of mother is always a really powerful message and service here for the fellowship. But I want to thank all of our musicians and vocalists today, Corey Williams, of course the Dangling Participles, and Solomon Harvey, for sharing your love with us in the way that you do. We are so appreciative. And thank you to all of you for being here today, for joining with us in this celebration of motherhood. And now I want to introduce a really short video clip announcement.
friends, Julie Ross here. I've been offering sound healing sessions on Facebook live streams on the fellowship page a couple times a month, and I wanted to invite you, everyone is invited, to come join me for an opportunity for relaxation, stress relief, to balance your chakras and your energies, and have a wonderful time of self-care that can be extremely beneficial. So please join me 2 Thursdays a month at 6:30 p.m. live stream on the Facebook Fellowship page, and I will see you there.
Julie Ross has been providing sound healing sessions through the fellowship for some time now, and if you haven't taken advantage or experienced one of them, I really do encourage you to join us this next Thursday. It's a wonderful, peaceful, quiet, healing experience. I have an affirmation for you to take with you into your week, and this is it. With an open heart, I choose love, gratitude, and forgiveness. So we'll put that in the comments today, and we'll also make sure that that gets into the e-announcements. Just an offering of something that you can bring into your minds and hearts as you go through your week. And now it's time to join together in our virtual peace circle, our big, huge peace circle. Let's stretch out our arms and open our hands, take our neighbor's hands in ours and hold on as we join our energies with intent and focus on peace. Peace from our own personal hearts and minds all the way to global peace. This is a time that we share with the world. And the closing blessing will be on the screen for those who need to see those words. Once again, I want to say thank you for joining us today. I wish you a happy Mother's Day, and I really look forward to seeing you next Sunday.